People go, hey, it's different than 50,000 people going berserk because they've got the final goal in. It's that amplification that makes all the difference. But it has to start somewhere. That discipline, that structure, the 7 laws of gold, and the one that kind of really sang out to me was, you basically partition. And sometimes it might fluctuate a little bit. You might get hit with a big bill or a big tax bill, or things sometimes go wrong. So those 86 refurb projects and the 25 years and the God knows how many million people we've put through nightclub doors was actually irrelevant.
Hi guys, welcome to the Carnivore Entrepreneur Show. I am your host, Grant Hutchby. I have with me Dan, and today's theme for this interview is the secret to living is giving. I'm not going to take away Dan's thunder in any way, shape or form. So Dan, welcome to the Carnivore Entrepreneur Show. So let's kick things off. So for those who don't know you, who are you and what do you do?
Well, thank you very much, first of all, for the kind invitation to be here. It's always interesting when you start introducing yourself because you wonder how far you should go back. I had my bronze swimming certificate and my silver swimming certificate before the age of 15. It was incredible. But the serious way I like to introduce myself is I was born in Cambridge but made in Birmingham. Been living in Birmingham since the age of 18. Came up here for uni. Very fortunate to be at the University of Birmingham. Had a cracking time there, was the worst civil engineer I think they've ever had on their books, but developed a love for nightclubs and events and organising parties and balls and all that kind of stuff. And that's really where I got started in business. So I've carved out a bit of a life up in Birmingham. Very, very proud landlord and refurber. So alongside my activity in the nightclub industry, running a little company called Vodball UK, we did a load of property refurbs. I've worked with a few partners over the years, basically getting hold of run-down, horrible old properties and initially doing them up to a basic standard. But now we're a little bit more proud about what we do. And that's developed into something called Rover Homes. And Rover Homes is a nod not only to the fact that we're pet friendly, but also the heritage of Birmingham and the area in which we operate. I mean, I've bought property up and down the country, but Rover Homes is basically where we all started off in B31 and B45, which is where the old Rover car plant, God rest it, in 2005, 2006 closed down. And there's a massive pride in that area. Even now, one of the chaps who does a bit of work labouring for another firm, he pointed at my branding and said, "I love that. I don't love you, but I love that." And it's Birmingham and the West Midlands is a fabulous place. So put down my roots up here. Done a bunch of property stuff, bit of resi, bit of commercial, lots of refurbing. SAS trustee for 13 years, supported living for 13 years. So kind of learnt all the mistakes and seen the problems, and thankfully learnt from some people much better, braver and brighter than me. Specifically since 2013 on the mastermind course, Saizuchi's mastermind course, who I've known since uni, and finally managed to see the light. But also more recently, how we met actually, Grant, on the Property Entrepreneur training system, or community is a better word of putting it. And that's really, I guess, where this podcast has come into it, where I've always been interested in giving back, because been humbly fortunate to have a very good life and kind of have all of my facilities, everything's working. Bits fall off occasionally, but generally I'm in good shape. And there's so many people who would switch paths with you in a heartbeat. And that's really been a mentality that's always been part of, whether it's for things like Get Up, Give Back, or for work with other organisations. I volunteer, do a bit with the RBL when they'll have me. It's very much the mentality that there's literally millions of people who'd swap places with you in a heartbeat, if not billions. And we're so very fortunate that we have to have that humble honour and privilege to be able to. Right, it's not an option; it's an obligation to do what we can to help other people without detriment to ourselves, and we can do that. It's simple, really.
Oh, absolutely.
That's a quick introduction. Aside from that, 50 years old. Got a wonderful wife who puts up with me, incredibly patient. So part of the podcast thing is I always have to give a shout to Steph, who's an absolute rock. and fabulous, and very, very fortunate that I finally gave in and let her marry me after stalking her for a little bit. So, yeah,
Absolutely. Behind every great man, there is.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Great girl, and yeah, also a great team as well. You've got to show respect to the people who've got you where you are, because no man is an island. And whether it's our life partner or the other people that we've had the pleasure to run through with. That's in the nightclub industry, in the building industry, in the giving back industry. So yeah, that's a snapshot that's probably gone on a little bit too long. That's me.
No, absolutely fine. And do you know what? You touched on a really, really good point, which hit home to me not long ago, which was perspective of actually where you are in this world and how much you can actually give back.
Yeah,
So, like, 50% of the world don't have a toilet,
it's nuts, isn't
right?
it?
That's 3.5 billion people or 4 billion people that you're already better off than. If you've got a toilet in your house, running water, you're
Yeah.
better off than 50% of the people on this earth. And sometimes all you do is have this tunnel vision of what's around your local area or the people that you hang out with, and you live
Mm.
this life of comparison to the people that are just next to you, when actually there are so many other people that you can give back to that aren't doing as well, that, like you said, would want to be in your shoes.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. And yet we moan and mither when we can't get 5G and you've only got 4G on your Wi-Fi, and
Yeah,
that little device that rules your life now. It's
yeah,
bonkers when you think about it, but it is all perspective. And like I say, the fortunate thing over the last 6 years, 7 years, while I've been on Property Entrepreneur, you get to see other people who are kind of pushing the limits. And hats off to you as well, Grant, for doing what you're doing with Carnivore Entrepreneur, because it's another person kind of banging the drum of saying, we've got this incredible opportunity, this monumental road that we can go down if we choose to. And some people are going to do different levels of it, and that's completely cool. You're going to pick out. It's like a menu, isn't it? You don't go and order the whole menu. I'm
no,
sure some people do, but you
pick
pick
out what you fancy at the time.
what you can do. We've all got
Yeah,
limits, and there's things that are important to you in other ways. But it's appreciate having the opportunity to talk a little bit of living is giving, because it's something that's been a constant theme, and I've focused on it more years than others, and privileged now that I can focus on it a lot more than I have done before. The real joy in it, though, is seeing when other people get it, and other people have that little spark inside them, to go and lead their own organisations, whether it's something that we do or something we support. That's irrelevant. It's a matter of having those, and it also doesn't matter whether it's £1 or £1,000,000, because it's
no,
still a pound, right?
no, and I think Tony Robbins said this, which was, if you're not prepared to give 10 cents out of a dollar, you'll
Yeah,
never be prepared to give 100,000 out of a million.
so true. Yeah, if I won the lottery, won the Euro Millions, I'd give half it away. I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. Maybe, but I think it's like everything else, and whatever the program or the process is, it's that discipline and that habit, and it all starts from the first step, first mile, first push up, first donation, whatever it is.
Yeah.
So it's that little spark. I think that's part of the exciting thing, and the best people. Don't get me wrong, we've had some fabulous people like on Get Up Your Back or whatever it is, but where it's really really exciting is when you have someone say, "I can't raise £100. I cannot do that." And then all of a sudden they've done 1,200, £1,500, they've smashed it to bits, and they've done a couple of challenges, and it's only over a really tight time period of maybe 3 months. Or
Yeah.
someone who wasn't going to do anything, and then they do something completely off the curveball. There's someone in my mind. I don't want to embarrass them by mentioning it, but I'm so incredibly proud of what she achieved, because it was so, should I even worry about trying to even think about the potential of doing this? And then they absolutely crushed it, and took no prisoners. It's just beautiful to see. Really, really cool.
Yeah. And when people get involved and club together as a team,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
do things as a group rather than individual, the impact that you can have is multiplied, not by the amount of people that you've got, but by much more than that. You know, when you've got even 20 people going towards the same thing, it's more than those 20 people doing stuff individually.
Yeah.
You
It's an
know, and that.
amplification process, isn't it?
Sorry.
It's an amplification process. I think
Yeah,
Tony
yeah,
Robbins did he mention it once where if you went to see a football match and there was like two people in the crowd and your team scored, the two people go, hey, it's different than 50,000 people going berserk because they've got the final goal in.
yeah,
And it's that amplification that makes all the difference. But it has to start somewhere.
yeah.
It has
No,
to start somewhere.
absolutely. Cool. So, question that I ask everyone, Dan,
Oh, here we
is
go.
the Carnivore Entrepreneur Show is all about meat, muscles, mindset, and money, the four
Right.
M's.
Yeah.
Which one speaks to you the most and why?
Okay, so I'm going to bring this back to my mindset, and it is mindset primarily, and a little bit of money. But my mindset about property, Grant, is very much there's five F's in
Okay.
which is it's finding them, funding them, fixing them, feasibility, fixing, and then filling them. And that's not about that's about filling your pockets. It's about the profitability of it. And it's interesting with the four M's. Some of them do kind of speak to you more. And I'm wondering, can anyone get them all up to the same level and the balance of it, or is that part of the game of getting your mindset and your money and your muscles all in one place at the same time? For me, I'd propose it's probably mindset and money. I've always tried to keep myself in relatively good shape. There's been some, and we might come on to it in a bit. There's been some occasions when, back in my younger years, that wasn't so great. There wasn't a consistency. Well, there was consistency, but it was about drinking as much.
Just in the wrong direction.
Yeah, 100%. In the nightclub game, you're finishing work at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. You're starving, hungry. You bang down half a crate while you're working or playing or whatever you're up to. So that doesn't take long to contribute in exactly the wrong direction. On the flip side of it, mindset and money. So covering off money first, I've always had a discipline from the age of 11, and I was on a recent podcast with Phil Bygrave and Tim Witt, their podcast, where it all started because I wanted to buy a drum kit. And
Oh,
you
wow.
go and do as many paper rounds as you possibly can, because that's all you can do when you're 10, 11 years old. And you save up 1,500 quid to get your drum kit, a professional kit, because I played for about 7, 8 years until I started DJing, because I couldn't bring my drum kit up to university. And it's that, it's not going to go down well, is it, with the neighbours?
No.
You build up those, I suppose you do build up your muscles, don't you, of I'm going to earn more than I spend. I'm going to save more than I spend in some cases, and it's that intensity that escalates. It starts off small, but I went for 7 years writing down every penny I spent.
Oh, wow.
Didn't have a holiday in 7 years, and I had a spreadsheet. Whether it was a coffee for at the time 99p, like triple mocha latte cappuccino, whatever, for £15 or whatever they charge for it now. Structured my rent and so on and so forth. Very, very few trips away, and that's what I think was a builder to the deposits. I appreciate deposits are quite hefty to find now, but it was that stacking it away mentality about money. I'm not quite as brutal on it now. I'm a little bit more freewheeling. This year might be a matter of what's the one Adam Goff did the other year? Burn what you earn.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
Steph's not allowed to hear this podcast, by the way. But that's put me in good stead. We've got the SaaS, we've got the Financial Fortress versions 1 and 2. We're working on Financial Fortress number 3. We do long-term leases with supported accommodation. The refurb business is pretty solid, portfolio, and all those different kind of stacks. I like to think of them as bricks in a wall. So you get a good foundation, and then you layer your bricks and your mortar on top, and that's how you protect yourself. Money. So that's my mindset on money. Mindset in general. This is really where I guess Get Up, Get Back, and the dedication towards that came from, because there's there's a bit of a mentality there, and not saying from the old days and nights or anything like that. I've not taken an oath to protect the weak or something, but we do have a unique opportunity in what we have to give back something of what we earn. And the principle I apply to is something called tithing. It used to be a religious thing where basically you give 10% back. So there's a strict, again, a discipline, and mindset. Could you define it as discipline? I think so. A mindset of 10% of what I earn is mine to keep, but 10% is for those in need. And that all comes from a book I was fortunate enough to read at the age of 19 called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Yes.
Yeah, George S. Clanson, who wrote it back in, it's a bit oldie worldy because it was written in 1910 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it's that discipline, that structure, the 7 laws of gold. And the one that kind of really sang out to me was, you basically partition. And sometimes it might fluctuate a little bit. You might get hit with a big bill or a big tax bill, or things sometimes go wrong. But it's a lot better to be in a position where you've kind of made the hard decisions early, and then you're able to suffer those curveballs. Whatever Auntie Rachel comes out with in the budget, or maybe an investment doesn't go so good, or maybe you think, as I've done before, you're more capable in certain ways than you are, and you've made an investment and it's gone. I used to own a bar. I owned a bar for 3.5, 4 years. Because being in the nightclub industry for thick end of 25 and licensed trade, you know a lot of different stuff. There's a very different game between putting on events in other people's venues and running your own. Even with the capabilities of the management we had, it's a tough game. It's hard graft. Anyone who works in a hospitality licensed bar, especially catering, hats off to them because they're doing a lot of hours and the return ain't great. You can have a lot of fun and you can have a bunch of beers afterwards, but it's not necessarily a way to make a load of money unless you're really
not a cash cow.
Very good. Yeah, 100%. And it can do well for a bit. And then 3 years later on, we had to take a view to close the business because we got absolutely lambasted by competition, all landed in the same period, literally the same 8, 12 weeks. And we just couldn't keep up. So sometimes those investments that you make in good faith and happily, maybe they don't work out so well. And then your cash flow's been affected and you've got a little bit of a reset to deal with. Better a little bit of a reset than a complete undercut on it. Yeah. So that's why I think the Carnivore Entrepreneur, that'd be the big tick for me, if you like. It's a bit of a gel between mindset and money.
Cool. And I like that. And to your point of can you do all 4? I think the short answer is yes, but I don't think that you can focus on all 4 at the same time. I think what you can do is you can work on 1 or 2 at the same time and build them up, and I do think that they all feed into each other. Like, meat basically means, you're eating whole foods, you're eating properly, you're putting things into your body that are good for you, and muscles is you want to be young and fit and healthy, and you want to move the way that you want to move. You want to be able to, I guess, as a 50-year-old, still be able to move like you were 20.
Right.
And you've not lost that. And then obviously you've got your mindset and your money, which gives you that foundational happiness and freedom to be able to do what you want whenever you want it. And I think that's the sort of the thing that I'm trying to promote is we all need to be younger, happier, and freer, because if we are, we can give back more.
Yeah.
And I believe that having a focus on getting to a point where you can just give all of yourself to the world, financially, emotionally, physically, if you can give yourself to the world, it will make you a better entrepreneur. So that actually leads me into my next question is, how has giving back made you a better entrepreneur?
Well, interestingly, It was a couple of years back. I think it was Get Up, Give Back 23, 24. So between the Hike Against Hunger and the
Cardio.
Cardio versus Cancer campaign.
Yeah.
I mean, that many. I should kind of know them by now, shouldn't I? It's interesting. Our focus now is on 26 and 27. So we're already in discussions about 2027. I can't say too much about that, but it's
No, obviously not.
unbelievably exciting. 26 is going to be massive, but 27 is got a little bit of extra evolution in it. It was interesting how in 23, 24, because I've been out banging the drum about Hike Against Hunger and Cardio versus Cancer, I got introduced to someone, not Dan's the nightclub guy and he's been around Birmingham for 25 years. It wasn't Dan does Rover Homes and he's in supported accommodation and Sastra Street and blah, 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 which is what it usually would have been. I got introduced to someone as Dan's a Get Up, Give Back guy.
Excellent.
So those 86 refurb projects and the 25 years and the God knows how many million people we've put through nightclub doors was actually irrelevant. The unique piece, the introduction, was he's a guy who helps people get up, get back. And that was probably more pleasure, being very selfish about it. That was kind of more kind of exciting. A little bit of sadness because obviously we'd done a bunch of work on the other things. But it was interesting how that had been propagated and promoted and amplified by someone else as an introduction. And it's those little tiny leads that go in. From the point of view of being a better entrepreneur, I think it does make you focus on the fact that if you're making X £100,000 a year, you get to give some of that back. And it drives you to do more. So if you want to make a donation, if you want to provide support to someone, if you want to support someone who's maybe their donations aren't doing so well, because we have a little slush fund for each Get Up Your Back if people aren't kind of getting where they need to be. And what was beautiful, again, it's the amplification, other people taking it on. There was a lady who's funding, she was about 250 quid light on her target because she does a lot of stuff. It was actually one of the charities from last year. And everyone in that group shipped in. It was £10 here, £20 there, £40 here, whatever it was. So people got it. They got what we were trying to achieve, which is, we don't leave anyone behind. Everyone.
Do you feel like you've had a little bit of an identity shift from being that entrepreneur in property and nightclubs into being the get up and give back guy?
I fucking hope so. Yeah, the nightclub game, don't get me wrong, it is fabulous and we had a load of fun and so forth, but it was a dark decade. There was a lot of things that if I could have changed them now, I would have done. It was nightclubs and it was people going out and having drinks and so forth. And we did try and service people as well as we could from a safety point of view, making sure people got in genuine cabs, that people left as reasonably as they could, but also had a great time and were entertained. It's not exactly on the same evolution. And I mean, one of the show questions was about legacy. And interestingly, because Rosanna's obviously in the nightclub game as well, and we've discussed this previously before, is what do you want your legacy to be? And it doesn't necessarily have to be big, name up in 40-foot neon lights above a building. But if you started something that other people can run with, that's probably better than... I know it's interesting, actually, Grant. It's an interesting question because there's still a beauty when you bump into old pals from uni and they say, "Oh, do you remember that night when?"
Yeah.
You remember when we had Chesney Hawks in one of the venues, and there was, it was a decent size venue, 3,000 capacity venue, and literally everyone in was. You could basically feel the building tilt a little bit because everyone wanted to be. Hey, Chesney Hawks are one and only, and he played the other songs, but people went nuts for it. Or some of the other gigs when the Faithless Insomnia is playing and the light rig's dropping down and the lasers are going, and it's just off its head. There's no more.
Literally talking to my core because I was a DJ when I was younger, and those nights were magical.
On the flip side, though, it's when you raise that check and when you see those differences made to the people who participated and supported, and they go from saying, I can't do this to I could do this to I should do this to I will do this to I've done it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's
It's a
cool.
different level.
Yeah, it's huge. And there's been a couple of little anecdotes from it where people have said kind of why do you do it, and I think it's why everyone does it is because someone else might do it, but what if they don't?
Yeah.
And I've done a lot of analysis on we're all motivated by basically what pushes you or what pulls you. And if you do the whole values exercise behind it, you work out, okay, well, I'm personally a bit more push motivation rather than pull motivation. So it's lovely to have nice cars and houses and all the rest of it. But if that doesn't actually turn you on, your motivation is more push. And that push motivation is very much, well, if we don't do it, someone else might. But what if they don't?
Yeah.
And it was very kindly someone on the PE program who prompted that thought process. So I hope that answers the question, kind of.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think
Yeah.
that we all make different shifts, and I think something came to mind was what got you here won't get you there. And it's almost like, and I'm having this happen at the moment with the Carnivore Entrepreneur. So
Right.
I had my whole career before that got me to a level where I was able to set up our own business, and that was the next thing. So I left the corporate world, went into entrepreneurship, and then that led me through a whole journey of, property and learning how to run a business on our own. And we got to a level where that got me to a certain point, and this is where the Carnivore Entrepreneur has taken over.
Yeah.
So I think your life goes through different levels, and it's nice to see how those levels have progressed with you as well. It's really interesting.
Well, I always say to people, don't do what I did, do it quicker.
Yeah, look,
Yeah, look,
that's the whole
mistakes.
reason for doing stuff like this, for sharing your ideas, sharing your story, so other people can learn from it and accelerate their own journey.
Well, that's the interesting thing, especially at the moment with the tech there is now. I was telling someone about the old story because I used to work my very first inverted commas business at the age of 19 was for a multi-level marketing company, a firm called Amway, and I think I was with them for about
Yeah,
9
I've heard about Amway.
Yeah, I mean they do a whole bunch of everything. They're a direct selling company for everything through from face cream to dehumidifiers. I don't even know if they're still running. What they were brilliant at was continuing education. And you used to get a tape a week and a book a month. And that's where I first read Richest Man in Babylon from. And also the tape a month piece. And it is that constant drip feed of positivity and those little nuggets that come out that you might have heard them from, I don't know whether it's Tony Robbins or Cole Manor or John D. Martini or whoever it is, but it's that little trigger that takes you from point A to point B to C to D to E to F, should you wish it. And I'm also a great believer that there comes a certain point where, I'm very, very comfortable being on site, for instance, in the building trade. I'm not a trained builder, but I can do some things very well just because I've been around it for so long, and I really, really enjoy that. And some people will say, "Oh, why did you do that? Surely you can spend your time better." Because I enjoy it. Because we've also got to have joy in our lives. Now, whether prodding people to do more than they think they can on get up, give back, or I was doing some bricklaying yesterday. Not the best bricklaying in the world. It's an honour to be able to do that. My grandfather was a bricklayer, and there's a joy I find, whether it's that or carpentry or whatever, to working with my hands. So it's okay sometimes to do things that are not at the top of your game, in my opinion. Equally, there's other folk. You look at the top performers in the world. I'm sure they ain't laying bricks, but it'd be a very boring world if we all did the same.
I think there's a lot of truth in what you say. I think the problem is where you feel like you have to do those what may be described as lower level
Sure.
tasks, right? When you
Yeah.
have to do those, then it becomes a problem. But when it's a choice and you're
Exactly.
doing it for enjoyment,
Mm.
like as an example, I would never pay someone to go and help my daughter move some stuff, from
Yeah.
one place to another. I would
Sure.
go and help her myself because that's an opportunity to spend time with my daughter,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So I'm doing a lower level task, but I'm doing it for a much more positive reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you're doing it for enjoyment or you're doing it for connection, you're
Mm.
choosing to do that rather than having to do that. And I
Yeah. Sure.
wouldn't see that as a low value task. I would see that as a very, very high value task because it's giving you something on a higher level, even though what you're doing could be considered lower level.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's the key to it. I think when people analyse their values, one of my values is choice, and I drilled down into that and said, no, it's not actually choice; it's freedom, or freedom of
Yeah.
choice.
Freedom
Uh,
of choice. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
We all have
Because
a choice.
yeah, well, you do, don't you? You get up or you stay in bed. One of them is
Yeah.
comfortable and warm, and the other one's getting out and getting at it.
Mhm.
But if that choice is to walk downstairs and lie on the sofa, that's probably not so efficient.
No. No.
So yeah, bit of a sideline there, I guess. So next question.
Yeah. So let's just touch on. I like this conversation, but let's touch on the pillars of what is the carnivore entrepreneur and how that
Sure.
fits into your life. So the first pillar, which is the one I believe in most, is to have a young, strong,
Sure.
healthy body.
Yep.
Okay. We can all do better in life if we start looking after the only thing that we've got for the rest of our lives, which is our body,
Yep.
right? Let's look after it. Let's make it as young as it possibly can be. You've taken on some massive physical charity challenges like the Three Peaks and all the mountains that you've gone up and down.
Sure.
How do you stay strong enough to lead from the front with that and literally do virtually all the challenges that you put out there? Everyone else does one or two, but you just crack on and do them all. Like, what is it that you do in between doing those challenges to keep your body healthy and strong?
Sure. So the base level is 12,500 steps a day. Funnily enough, I had a very similar conversation with one of my old clubbing staff, and each year on Property Entrepreneur we do the Blue Crest thing, and my
Yes,
metabolic age is 35. Well, will be 35 this year. Last year was 34, so it's 15 years below.
15 years. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
maximum you can go to.
which is awesome. And I must admit, considering the 15, 20 years in the license trade, I don't know how that that's actually occurred. The only answer I could give him, because he said to me, well, how the hell have you done that? Because I enjoy a beer like the next man and my diet's okay, but could it be a lot better? Yeah, 100%. And I have been down sub 10% body fat. 2013, I realised that things needed a little bit of a tweak. It was at a time when I was newly single and hit the gym, hit the cut, so on and so forth, was in rare shape. I'm not in quite such good shape now, but I think my mind's in the right shape that the things like the Get Up, Get Back challenges, there's two precursors to that. One is I have a fairly consistent physical activity. It's 12,500 steps.
Yeah.
It's relatively okay sleep. Sleep's something I need to work on. One of the reasons I enjoy site work is all of a sudden your step count goes up 20,000 plus.
Yes.
And I tend to run my life now in quarters. So summertime, we bashed through a load of stuff. And while I was project managing them, I also enjoy doing the work on site. So why not? You're there anyway. Get in, get involved with the blokes, lead from the front, because no one can ever say, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to lift that. I'm not going to change that. I'm not going to maneuver that if you're there with them. Might be the right thing to do. Some people say you shouldn't be doing it, but I'm like, well, let's get stuck in, enjoy it. It's fun, and it builds that team mentality.
Okay.
So summertime is summertime. Wintertime, that's when I notice the little bit of a dip. You can do the Christmas piece, and all of a sudden you're 3-4 kilos heavier. So I know to combat that, and that's one great reason why being moved into the new office space I am. We've got the running machine next door. I tend to just elevate that. Sadly, there have been some physical complications. I had a percutaneous laser disc decompression in 2022. So that meant like taking a bit off the back of one of my discs. But it doesn't stop you from putting one foot in front of the other on the hill.
No.
And for the last 3 years, since we've actually been doing the challenges, I've taken the view that I can't ask someone to do Snowdon or Yorkshire Three Peaks or National Three Peaks unless I do it myself. And it's fun. I mean, Christ, you're there with the community, you're there with a bunch of folk. People can't get away from you, which is always good.
Start prepping them for next year.
Yeah. Oh God, there's all sorts of goes on. They can't escape unless they run faster. So that's part of the mentality behind that activity. And also, I'm ultimately accountable. I can't be telling someone they've got to get out, do the steps, maneuver, get up early, get out in the dark, put the head torch on, all that kind of thing, unless I'm leading with that. That's just not cricket. And I think we see that in property entrepreneur. Dan, Adam, Josh, they all do whatever it might be they do physically, and the line they give is lead from the back. But at the same time, they're in it at a level of consistency, and it's discipline, isn't it? It's discipline. I personally prefer that methodology. I've got a gym membership. Do I go enough? Probably not. I know the things I enjoy, and having kit nearby, anyone can put on a pair of trainers, or nearly anyone. Sadly, some people physically aren't, maybe mobile, so I'll retract that. But the majority of us are fortunate enough and privileged enough to have the ability to go out and move or do a press up. If it's on your knees, do it on your knees until you can do it regularly. Until you can do it regularly, then put your feet on a couch and invert, and then do it on perfect push, which are my new torture device I've got in there that get you just that little bit of extra dip. One thing is you can always escalate.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you do one chin up, you strive to do two. If you can do two, you can do 10 eventually with enough training. And it's a matter of that management piece.
Good. Have you ever had a situation where your health has slipped because of your business?
100%, yeah. The license trade, initially when I was playing records, I was doing 4, 5, 6 gigs a week. The money was fabulous. We were promoting. I was driving up to Stoke, driving up to Manchester. You're driving home at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning when you've not been giving it big licks on the piss, or falling asleep in your own car and sleeping in car parks. It was just an disaster. Seriously. So I was driving up to Stoke and Manchester that much. I took a view sometimes because I was promoting the next morning and we had facilities in the club. We were finishing at 3, 4 o'clock. What a lot of people don't understand the nightclub industry is you work during the day as well.
Yeah, preparing everything.
Yeah, absolutely. So to drive home from Stoke to Birmingham, if A, I was sober enough and B, I was awake enough, you've got an hour and a half drives home, hour and a half drive in the next morning. To book a hotel overnight and sleep between 4 and 9 didn't make an awful lot of sense. Sometimes we were literally roughing it, throwing yourself under the shower in the club, and then you're going at it the next day because you're doing 4, 5, 6 days work along with 4, 5, 6 gigs. And that's when you start exploding. You go from a 13 and a half stone to a 15 and a half, 16 stone.
Wow. Yeah.
And the picture I've got, Grant, in my head, well, I was doing a gig actually back in Birmingham. I was a resident in Birmingham on a Saturday in an R&B room of all things. Most of the stuff I did was like more kind of housey, dancey bits and bobs. And the air conditioning had broken in this room. And the room shut at about 1 o'clock because a punter actually killed over. It wasn't a big room. It was about 300, 350 capacity. And it was absolutely dripping.
Wow.
And I came out of the changing room. And my girlfriend at the time took a photo of, I was literally dripping. I was wearing a pair of linen trousers and a t-shirt, and just everything was soaked. It was like I'd been run under a shower. It was that hot in there. And I'd taken my top off to cool down, and my belly was just hanging over at 15 and a half, 15 and three quarter stone, I think I was at the time. And it was that photo that was the motivator of saying, enough of that. And it clicked back from still enjoy a bite to eat, enjoy a beer, and so on and so forth. But it wasn't the consistency of that negative discipline that I'd got myself into back in 2003. And yeah, the problem with the license trade is drink is very, very easy. And especially when you
Yes.
own your own car, you're paying a lot less per cost per unit. So that needed addressing. And now pleased to say it's not that alcohol has been a alcoholic situation. Hats off to the people who have been in the industry who are now 5, 10, 15 years dry, and have kicked that habit. But God, you can do some damage with the consistency of a negative discipline.
Yeah, and actually, this probably nicely leads us on to our next section, which is all of those habits not only have a massive impact on your body, how you look and feel, but
Yeah,
also have a massive impact on your mind as
yeah,
well. And one of the next pillar of what I believe, creates true wealth is to have a happy, energized mind, and so that you've got everything going on right up here,
yeah,
because this fuels everything. And while having a healthy body is a foundation that can fuel a healthy mind, a lot of the practices that you do to both impact your body will impact your mind as well, both negatively and positively. So how did but those bad habits obviously affected your body, but
yeah.
how did that impact your mental capacity as well?
Yeah, I think because it's whether it's that, or I don't know, I've never smoked, but people who smoke, or people who eat loads and loads of sugar, or whatever it might be. I think it's almost death by 1,000 cuts, literally, in some cases, where you're not aware of it until you have that shock.
Yeah, right.
In my case, it was late night food and late night booze, which
Yeah,
we're not programmed for. We're not there to do that. And owning a bar, that's a great way to have late night action, and early morning. Less said about that the better.
yeah, right.
But I think what actual effect for your mind is it that becomes your normal. And we'll
Yeah,
have all had this before, where I'm gonna watch YouTube for a bit, and then you automatically go to YouTube or social media or WhatsApp or whatever it is, and it's that catching yourself of programming not only the wrong things but programming the right things.
yeah,
So getting out in the air and maybe not trying to reply to every WhatsApp message you've had. It has to be a conscious decision to form the habit. But it's good just to get out and see, the colours and the state of the sky, and maybe even some cases feel the rain and feel that flush, if you like, of being out with the bite of cold air that we've got now. I
yeah.
mean, okay, it's better to be warm maybe, but sometimes it's better to give yourself a wake up. So
And
yeah,
you just touched on it. You just said it. Like it's almost like you become you become asleep, and
mm,
you're walking around not even knowing that something's wrong. You're blind to it, and then if you change your habits, you wake up and
yeah,
you realize how much you were being held back before, but you had no idea when you were in it.
yeah. And it is that little catalyst there. I mean, talking of podcasts, the thing I'm testing and trialing at the moment is the LMNT. I mentioned it to you, electrolytes, because drink 2 litres of water. That's a given. That's a habit. That's got to be done. I never realised the power of electrolytes. And
Mm,
it's just huge. And okay, you get a bit nervous sometimes about having loads of packaged goods, whether it's, I don't know, mushroom tea or whatever it is. And it's whatever works for you. Some people are big into meal prep because they don't want the discipline of doing a 7 night batch cook,
Yeah.
or mushroom tea or matcha, or whatever it might be. It's whatever works for you. It's whatever
Yeah.
works for you that you enjoy, and you're going to stay consistent. That most importantly. I mean, there's no point having uh, dog's arse flavored drink when you then you're having to force it down. What's the point of that?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. But if you enjoy it and it serves you and it's um, not detracting, I mean, I love a Guinness like the next man, but you can't be drinking 8 of those a day, can you? That's just that's not cool. So yeah, finding out what fuels you, what serves you, or it
Yeah.
might be something as simple as getting out in nature is the thing that assists clearing your mind, giving you
Yeah.
focus. There's some wonderful YouTube things. I find that if I put a YouTube deep focus music on rather than some of my old, I don't know, clubbing favourites or yeah, stuff I used to play in the band. Love some of the old rock stuff because we used to
Oh
play
yeah,
that,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and you just find yourself all of a sudden tapping away, and you've
Yeah.
completely lost the focus on the task in hand.
Yeah. Well,
Almost,
there is brain music, isn't there,
yeah,
to
yeah.
help your brain perform in different ways. So, interestingly, question I've got to sort of wrap up the mind section
Mhm.
is, what do you have specific rituals or rules that you live by to keep your mind in the place that it needs to be at?
Yeah, 100%. And those change and vary as things go on. Like I say, the focus music has been fabulous. I need to adapt more to that. Got to get out in the morning
Get
to
steps in.
get steps. The steps are absolutely essential. Uh, Interestingly, when I've not done it for whatever reason, it's not only the fact that you've not done it; it's the fact that you know that you've not done it.
You feel it, don't you?
Yeah, 100% you feel it, but also in the back of your head, it's like, you utter fuck up. You didn't go out today. You dropped the ball and you didn't need to.
And your
Yeah,
mind's playing those tricks on you.
maybe that's the little thing on your shoulder. How was it someone referred to? Not a demon, but a daemon. I think was
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Hitchens referred to it the once. That literally there's something on your shoulder telling you when you've done good and when you've done bad.
yeah,
I know that's a bit wibbly, but we get that, don't we? We know
yeah.
when we've not been the hero in our own story, and that might be something big. It might be something really small, but it's a
Mhm.
matter of keeping that positivity and that reinforcement when you have achieved something. As simple as putting on your trainers because we're privileged to be able to do so, and going out and getting 4,000 steps in.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my answer for that one.
Cool. So what's the main thing that you do to switch off? Because
Oh,
it's good always to switch your mind off. How do you switch it off so that you're
that's,
not thinking too much?
that's such a good question, but I think it's very easy. Not only when you're kind of self-motivated anyway, but when you're in an environment of high performers or people who are just performing, basically, not wrong in any other ways of life, but just that we're in an environment with property entrepreneur where there's 160, 170 people or whatever it is, and everyone will be doing something at some point.
Yeah.
So it's I think one of the balances, as I'm going to throw this back in a little bit of a different way, is I know there's guys like yourself, Steve Hammond, Umesh, Dan, Adam. They might be getting up earlier than me. They might be going to bed later than me. They might be growing in a different way, but sometimes we have to balance against um, that constant thought process of, oh Christ, I should really be just finishing something off, and it's 7 o'clock in the evening and there's family time, which is actually more important
Yeah.
because I'm not 23, 24 anymore, and it's not a matter of earning as much as you can and putting the foundations in. It's a matter about enjoying the smell of the roses. So
Yeah.
switching off is it? I think it's still a bit of a battle, in all honesty. If I'm
Okay.
kind of throwing myself on the floor here,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you
yeah, yeah.
in a conversation with someone on a Saturday or Sunday, and you're thinking about, oh Christ, I've got to go and organise this, or there's this litigation piece that I'm dealing with, or I'm doing a conveyance, got to get stuff through the conveyancers.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a very good. That's if anything, Grant. To be honest with you, the one thing, the one big thing I'll take away from this conversation is that's something I need to work on. It's
Excellent.
something I need to
Okay,
work on.
cool.
And we all have this wonderful mechanism called a wife that will definitely sure as hell correct us when we're wrong.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
They'll
hear me?
hold the mirror up. They will
Yeah,
hold the mirror up. No
you do,
problem.
literally.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
Yeah. Otherwise, I'd say cats. Cats, definitely cats. Love cats. So yeah. What you can do is you can't type because they're on top of you and stuff's going everywhere and it's just bedlam. So
can't think about anything else.
yeah, they're a great way to switch off. Get a cat, wonderful.
So bank account. I
Right.
believe that you should have freedom in your bank, so it's not,
Yeah.
so it's working for you rather than against you.
Sure.
What for your bank account, your wealth, your money to work for you rather than against you? What does it need to do?
Okay, so there's some basic rules that I have.
Yeah.
We're thankfully now at 50% loan to value. I don't over leverage.
Nice.
Need to have enough war chest there and available. Do I want to hammer that down a little bit? Yes, 100%. That 50% includes all the loan backs we do through our SaaS, because part of my game for this year is to be my own bank. Oh, not for this year, but consistently. We're very
You
fortunate.
almost lend money to yourself.
Yeah, you can loan back a SaaS, a pension
Yeah.
fund against yourself. So part of the game is being that self-sufficient, and not to get all conspiratorial or anything about it, but I'm not bright enough to understand the whole banking industry. I'm a great believer in. I want to protect me and mine because then that means I can do more for other people.
Okay.
And I've got a pal who has a bit of a different argument with me. He says, you never know what's going to happen. You could not be here tomorrow, so you need to do as much as you can and give away as much as you can while you can. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's a fair shout. The flip side of it, I guess, is we've set ourselves up for wills and so forth that when we're not here anymore, the charities we support will benefit enormously. Bit of a tangent on that, but it's important, I think, to have that long term view. And I've always probably been a longer term planner. I mentioned before about working real hard at the beginning of things and having, putting what I needed to in play early doors and investing early, because then it's like hard decisions, easy life, easy decisions, hard life.
Exactly that.
You're saying, oh yeah, I'm not going to go out for a meal because I've spent my budget for this week. Oh, what are you doing, Norman? It's a bit of a grind, but the situation now is comfortable, and that's what enables the whole legacy piece. So that's one of the rules. LTV 50%. Bank balance. One thing I'm guilty of is I probably don't keep the cash on hand, and that's been a piece over the last
Like your
couple of
working
years.
capital.
Yeah, working capital. I think we're all very guilty of it. You just
Yeah,
try and
me included. I'll hold my hands up to that one.
yeah, and it's so easily done because we all look for the deals. But no more than I mentioned, Richest Man in Babylon, one of the books that I've recommended to loads of people. I bought for loads of people. I mean, Richest Man in Babylon, I've probably bought 30 copies and given them to people I care about. Enough by Paul Deanson is a fabulous book of okay, it's fabulous to go and not knocking it, go and build yourself a mega multinational corporation. Brilliant. If that's what turns you on, do it. From a basic point of foundation, his argument is you probably only need 3 or 4 properties paid off and looking
Yeah.
after you. And that's a very different scenario. I think Josh actually from Property Entrepreneur sums it up perfectly, which is it's all about small business, large profit.
Small business, big profit.
Yeah. And it makes so much sense, because otherwise you're building layers upon layers upon layers, not knocking that, because if that floats your boat and there's a long-term structure about it, then brilliant. And we need more people doing that. In fact, we need to as entrepreneurs, we've got a duty, I think, and an obligation to do what we can, whether it's on a small scale or a big scale, to assist as many people as we can. Whether it's a tight team of 3 and you can provide employment for them so they don't have to go and quote jobs or worry about their future. That's part of our responsibility. If it's 300 people, brilliant. I operate, Grant, very much on the smaller scale of things. So the supported accommodation business, for instance, we set that up deliberately not to have a job. The 3 directors all took you. We don't need to be more landlords. We don't need phone calls coming in left, right, and centre. And that's a good thing because we're able then to support the housing association that provides the tenants and the management of those properties. And they've now grown over 10 years from 100 people to 1,000. So that's kind of the mentality on money. It's don't get me wrong, it'd be lovely to have the fast cars and the flash holidays and so forth, but we kind of do okay anyway. I take a view. Don't fly less in business. Why would you?
Yeah. Well, I fly business not just because I want all the luxuries that are in there. I'm 6'5". I don't fit in the other seats.
Great reason to do that. Great reason to.
Especially on long haul. I mean, traveling like 6, 7, 8, 9 hours. It's horrible being stuck in those seats. But yeah, the things that I took from that were don't over leverage yourself. Stick within a leverage that you're comfortable with. Make sure that you've got enough money around you that you're comfortable with. Stick within some spending limits, and then also have money that's coming in each month that you don't have to work for. That's passive.
Yeah, recurring income. I'll just make one small adjustment. If my passive income gets bandied around a little bit.
Okay. Sorry.
Recurring. And again, that was from Richest Man of Babylon. So a lesson I learned 31 years ago was, have a constant supply of income.
Make money while you sleep.
Yeah, money while you sleep. Gold will multiply itself. The other key piece being, of course, that the LTV should change depending on circumstances.
Yes.
And seeing those opportunities when we were back at 1%, 0.5%, that was absolutely the time to run. I think at the moment it's time to be a little bit more cautious. And okay, the argument is there's going to be a lot of people ejecting, and I completely get that. So it's maybe a bit more of a balance.
Yeah. I mean, there are times where you need to change your LTV. I mean, when we had the massive amount of fraud last year, we were sitting at about 60% LTV, which we were getting that down. But we needed to raise that back up to 70, 75 to raise money to pay off the fraud, and it was nice to be able to have that leverage there to actually be able to do it. So we didn't feel it financially from our cash flow perspective, but we were able to fix it using our own property portfolio that we had within the LTV. So certain situations give you the opportunity depending on where you are. Sometimes you need to leverage up, sometimes you need to pay it down, and that's and you'll go through different stages throughout your life on that. So I love that you've got these rules, but also some flexibility to those rules as well, depending on what stage of life you're at.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the mentality behind it, I guess, is if you're in a situation that you're running at 75, or even those old Kent Reliance loans that are 85%, if you've not got a war chest or a lifeboat or anything in the background, where do you go from there if you need? Or if you want to do a personnel, the argument is, okay, I'd probably be able to borrow a load of money off someone or bridge it or do whatever else. That's great. But the for want of a better word, maturity of me is if I can use some of my own funds and have that wiggle room for the right deal rather than just doing deals for deal's sake.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm also speaking from the point of view of having done 25, 30 years of it, whatever it is, rather than someone who's just starting off. Very different scenario.
Again, you're in a different stage, so you do different things. And then whatever you do at the beginning of your journey is going to be different to what you do in the middle and the end of your journey.
Yeah.
And you're just at a certain stage, and people that are, more at the beginning might take more of an aggressive approach to what you're doing, because you don't need to take those risks. When you've got nothing to lose. So you can be more aggressive. But when you've got a lot of stuff to lose, you don't want to put your risk into something that could make you lose stuff. You know,
Yes.
what does Warren Buffett say? You know, rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, follow rule number 1, right? So
It's interesting how many people have that thing of just having to do a deal. I just want to do a deal. It's like, no, just do the right deals.
do the
It's
right
so
deal.
much more efficient.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. So we're sort of coming to the end. We've completed our bank freedom section. So I've got some quick fire questions for you. So first quick fire question is, if you could go back to yourself in your lowest moment, what one piece of advice would you give yourself at your lowest?
All my life, lowest moment. That's quite a number to pick out of there. I think change quicker.
Yeah, make changes quicker. I think that's a real good one. I would
And
probably say for myself, it would be everything's going to be all right.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, like
but
make a
mentality,
change and everything's going to be okay.
yeah, this too shall pass.
Yeah, yeah,
Too shall
yeah.
pass.
Look, I think it was what is it, a Chinese proverb or something where they say, where they say, uh, uh, good times will pass and bad times will pass. Everything will pass. Like good times will go into bad times will go into good times. Nothing lasts forever.
Yeah, yeah. Well, we don't last forever, even though a lot of us act as if we do.
Yeah, I
And
know,
yeah,
right?
that's yeah, this too shall pass. Because while
Yeah,
it's what's the old phrase? It's darkest before the dawn. And as
yeah,
long as you
and
choose to fight and choose to overcome, that's okay.
yeah,
It's when people sadly don't, and they just keep on going down and down and down and down. So
yeah.
the lowest isn't necessarily bottom.
No, and you can already
Yeah.
well, the rock bottom is death, isn't it? Like you're not here anymore, and if you're never there, you never actually hit the rock bottom.
Well, I mean, interesting conversation I had about that is that death ain't the worst that can happen because
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, that's
you
a
don't,
good point.
do you? We were talking about this actually on Black Box. One of the processes we run for Black Box is to help people through that process that they probably haven't even thought about, which is what they actually want, because they ain't going to be here. It's the worst thing about death or any form of that type of issue is it's not going to affect you at all, but it's going to sure as hell affect everyone else.
Yeah, and actually, I had Akash on a previous interview. So
Right, excellent.
anyone that wants to look into Black Box or anything like that, feel free to review the episode that I had with Akash a couple episodes ago,
Beautiful.
and that will tell you a lot more about Black Box. And Dan is a massive part of that. So
We're
give
not
it
talking about that stuff enough, and yeah, the lowest point. If you're up to your neck in shit, stop digging.
yeah,
uh,
right.
yeah,
Stop digging, start climbing.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's my thought process on that. That'd be the advice, and I hope my younger self, despite being frivolous and foolish, would take such advice.
I like that. This too shall pass. So yeah, that's one good thing to take away. So you mentioned a couple books. What's your favourite book? If you were to gun to head,
I think it is actually Richest Man in Babylon.
Richard and Babel. Yeah.
And
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's been written in kind of archaic language and so forth, but it's literally taught me so much. And okay, it's a bit historic, and I think they've actually
Mm.
written it because it's written kind of with these and theirs and thous in it.
Mm.
But it's something that should be taught in schools. It should be read to people. And it's a story at the end of the day. It's a lovely storybook. I mean, I've read it dozens of times.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
like I say, bought them for people that I know and love and
Okay,
care
look,
about.
all those books are the originals. Like they're the originals on how to approach life, how to be successful. Like my favourite book is Think and Grow Rich, which was written in the 1920s. You
Beautiful.
know, and that those books form the foundation of what everyone's talking about now.
Yeah.
You know, and I think they're actually coming back in. Like I feel like a lot of more people are reading them now, which is great. Okay, cool. I thought it'd be Richest Man in Babylon. That would be your answer to that one. Next quick fire question is: how would you like to be remembered?
I was thinking about this while out for a walk earlier, actually, and it's an interesting one because initially, when you're younger, um, it's about the amount of money or the number or the cars or the buildings or whatever else it is. And there's a wonderful tape which is RPM that was one of the Amway catalogue, and I remember this now is by a guy called Coleman Orr, just an incredible speaker. And the RPM, if I remember correctly, stood for Revolutions, Posture, Momentum,
Okay,
about
cool.
life. I must try and find it. I'll probably go upstairs in a loft somewhere. And he said that the secret to life, or his view on the secret to life, isn't about how many beers you did or didn't drink, about how much money you did or didn't earn, about how many cars you did or didn't have. It's about how many people genuinely had a better life because of what you tried to achieve.
Phenomenal.
And
That I had a better life because of you, and you actually don't. I hadn't realised sometimes how much of an impact just a small thing that I said to someone has made a difference to their life. Like I saw it as nothing, but it changed the whole trajectory of their life.
well, I guess no more than that's something I listened to 31 years ago, and I still remember it. I can still hear it in
Phenomenal.
my ears. And yeah, it's not, I guess, not so much about how would I like to be remembered, but if you can create those little pieces along the way that someone might pass on, and you almost become a bit insignificant, for want of a better word, to it. It's the fact that it's been propagated. That's not necessarily a memory about you, but it's a memory that's been passed on because we've all made a ton of mistakes and we've had some successes along the way as well. But if you can stop someone having the same mistakes that you had, I think that's the legacy.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. Help the world be a better place.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, totally. Whether it's picking up a piece of litter or saving life, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
It's just got to be a bit. Christ, in the world we're in at the moment, there's a whole load of better that we can have, right?
yeah,
And it's still
yeah.
at the time, it's still pretty good. I mean, geez, I was at the Birmingham back-to-back houses about a month ago, and you looked at the way that people were living in Birmingham. Not even it was the thick end of a century ago, but then they showed some photos of how people were living in them back in the '60s. Not within living memory, and you think,
Mm,
geez, while there's a lot of people, bless them, in the world who are in all sorts of trouble, even in a developed environment, there's still people who need a hell of a lot of help.
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And that sort of, I guess, wraps up the whole theme of this
Mm.
interview, which is the secret to living is giving, and it's not about giving money. Like money is part of it, like
Yes.
helping provide some funds and where people need it. However, it's more giving your time, giving your energy, giving your knowledge, giving your feedback, and actually helping someone live a better life. It's much more than money.
Mm.
And I think we can all, like, even if you don't have money to give, you will have something that you can give to someone else. And I think that's a great notion to finish on. And I guess the last quick fire question is, if
Yeah.
you could leave our listeners with one message today, what would that be?
Wow. Do something. Doesn't have to be big. Doesn't have to be small. I mean, we'll all remember from school the Bible story of the. Now, I'm not particularly religious, but I remember this from being a kid. The people who were giving at the temple, and the query came, okay, who gave the most? And it wasn't the people putting the big pieces of gold necklaces and so forth, and it was the lady at the end who only gave a couple of pennies because
Yeah.
she was there, and that's all she had. Uh,
Hmm.
and my little take on that is just do something. It doesn't have to be huge, but little bits will make all of the difference
Yeah.
eventually. If we all did something, then it's a damn sight better than a few people doing a lot, because everyone takes responsibility then. And we all can.
That's
We can
right.
all give time or money or or energy or a compliment. Just let's gradually make things right.
Yeah, cool. Make it right. Great thing to finish on. Fantastic, Dan. So, lastly, if people want to get in touch with you about anything, how would you like people to get in touch with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So property stuff, real nice and easy. Dan at Rover Homes. Rover as in the car, or woof woof. Rover Homes.
This will all be in the description, by the way. So
Sure.
it will all be in there. Don't worry.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's one email about property stuff. Or if folk want to talk about Black Box, we have some something for us to have a chat about. We have some really nice little offers for people who just want to find out a bit more. I had a very capable pal get in contact the other day, and we gave him a bit of an assessment on the scorecard we do, and he put like just a laughing emoji, and there's capable guy, and he said, I need to get this looked at. And my contact for that is Dan at the-black-box.uk, because it's a conversation not a lot of people are having. About 30% of people are actually having that conversation, and it's sadly lacking for looking after our nearest and dearest. And I'd encourage people to link up if they can. Yeah, whether it's with us or with other people, it doesn't matter. We're not really bothered, because the scenario.
Get your legacy protected.
Yeah. Just have that conversation, because it's a train coming for all of us.
Absolutely. Okay.
Beautiful.
Cool. Thank you very much, Dan, for joining us. And thank you for everything that you've shared. It's been a massive pleasure. And I will see you soon. Thank you very much. Take care.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
See ya.